Today on Tyria Talk, I discuss all the news coming out of the anniversary bash at PAX Prime 2013, and will Narfle the Garthog? Let's get to it. Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richie Procopio, aka Otter, and this show is all about Guild Wars 2. Today is episode number 55, and today we're going to be discussing the reveals that happened at PAX Prime 2013, which just finished. Actually, I think it's still going on today, but besides the point, we have now information about the September 17th patch, okay? So the Super Adventure Box and stuff, all that is coming back, or has come back by the time you've watched this video in early September, but the next patch on September 17th has some really juicy features in it. And this information was gleaned from the Twitch.tv live streaming that they did direct from the show. I'll put a link to it in the description below so you can watch it yourself if you'd like. But the first announcement I'd like to make is the looking for group tool will at long last be in the game. We have, the fans in the community have been talking about a feature like this for months and months and months. It's kind of difficult. It's actually interesting. You have the ability to do dungeons and stuff cross-realm, right? It doesn't matter which server you're on. You can actually group up with other people, but there was no way in-game to kind of facilitate you finding those players. There's no way you can communicate with them unless they're on your friends list or something like that. You wouldn't be able to just find random people from another server unless you happen to, like, guest over there, and then you can only, guest to a couple different servers in a certain time period. So a lot of people used an off-site, looking for group kind of tool, but now it's going to be in-game. And it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. You can search for people to do, open world things on your own server. You can also do living story dungeons. You can look for people that doing the regular dungeons, fractals of certain levels, world versus world, personal story, and PvP. And what it basically does is it lets you browse through the parties that are looking for group members. You can see what they already have in the group, right? You can see what classes are already there, and you can kind of customize it. If you're searching for other people, you can customize, hey, this is a speed run or whatever you want to do to try to attract the right type of people. And it will also help you, let's say you're in a group of 2 people, it will only search for, posts that have 3, 2, or 1, right? So you can match it up like that. It's not gonna give you a party of 5, a party of 4 if you're, you already have 2 people in your group. And it does look like, you can, select what you're looking for and join those certain groups like that. Now, this is not going to be a looking for group tool where you just queue up and it will automatically match you up with somebody and throw you into the dungeon or anything like that. It doesn't work like that. It is a tool where you can advertise what your group is looking for, or you can look and find, a perfect match for you and actually kind of click in and join that group that way. It's not a matchmaking system. So that's really cool. And that goes live again on September 17th. Now, the World versus World is seeing some big changes. They're calling it Bloodlust in the Borderlands. Now, this is going to be they're going to start with having different seasons to the World versus World sessions. And it's going to start on October 4th and run 7 weeks, and I guess that ends on November 21st. There's going to be 3 leagues of 9 worlds in the EU, in Europe, and there's going to be 2 leagues of 12 worlds for North America. And what they're going to do is they're going to compete in this 7-week competition to see who comes out on top. Now, during the 7 weeks, you will face at least every world in your bracket at least once during that time period, and they're going to track the results, and at the end of the period, there's going to be rewards, based on how your server did. Now, what's interesting about this is if you want to get any of these personal rewards for you, you will have to complete a World versus World meta achievement during that time period. And they didn't go too deep into what the rewards could be, but I know there's something like custom finishers, PvP finishers, something like that. There might be like a title or some sort of trophy or medal or something like that your world will get. But the interesting thing about that is I love achievements, right? And I don't do world versus world all that often. It's fun to poke my head in once in a while, and when they update things or change things. But this actually motivates me. Having tangible rewards for my server, having a season, which is a time period, that you want to compete at this certain time period, because this is going to count, and this is going to be like publicized, and we're going to see who comes out on top and stuff like that. Instead of it just being every week somebody wins, and it really doesn't overly matter all that much. But having the ability to get some personal rewards, get some server pride in a condensed like season, that really kind of attracts me more. I will be more apt to do some world versus world because of this change, and I can't wait to see like more information about it as it rolls out. So that's pretty cool. Now the other big news more on the PvE side is Tequatl the Sunless is getting a complete overhaul. We know that they were looking into changing up the big bosses around the world, and I think that they're starting with Tequatl, and the boss fights that are out in the open world, they're amazing to look at, and the animations and the sound design on these creatures and the sense of scale is just beautiful. And but they've just been reduced to these Zergfests, right? These loot pinatas. And nobody looks at Jormag or the Shatter anymore as like, wow, that's such an epic encounter. They look at it just like, all right, we'll just sit here and spam our buttons until it pops out some loot for us. And it's a shame because of how cool they look, and there's I still remember facing the Shatterer for the first time and be like, you know what, that might be the coolest looking boss fight I've ever experienced. It's not the coolest from a mechanics point of view or the sense of accomplishment when you defeat it, but just looking at it, it's just like, wow, that's pretty epic. So they're starting with Tequatl, and this is kind of how it's going to work. They're going to make it so that, like the Karka Queen, there is a fail condition of a time limit, right? I think you get 15 minutes to defeat it. And it's going to require some coordination. You can't just stand there in a big pile and just spam at it. And what they said, and I don't know how much of this is going to be accurate or not, but they said they're going to need around 80 players of level 65 or higher with good gear on them to kind of take this thing out. That sounds like a lot of players, but we'll see how that works out. And some of the things that are going to happen is they're going to make it so that the turrets that are already in the fight, you can't just ignore them. Like, nobody gets in the turrets really now. The turrets are going to be really useful. One of the things that they do is there's these poison clouds that get put down all around the boss and kind of limit where you can stand. And one of the turrets' abilities is to cleanse that poison so that you can actually make it so that people can stand in melee range or different places. So the turrets will clear the poison. They can also buff groups of people if they target like an AoE kind of buff. And they also can remove this shield. I forget exactly what it's called, Armored Scale or something like that. They remove that from Tequatl, and if nobody's removing that, then Tequatl's going to put up the bone shield, the bone wall thing, and then you'll have to waste time destroying the bone shield before you can attack Tequatl again. So it really hurts against that fail condition of the limited time. So the people on the turrets are going to be buffing, removing poison, and making sure that that bone wall doesn't go up. Then there's other things like halfway through the fight, Tequatl will just fly up in the air and a sub-event will spawn. And it's basically you have to charge up the Mega Laser and shoot Tequatl out of the sky to continue the fight. And you have to stop different Risen from getting to these batteries that are charging up the Mega Laser. And if you were successful in this mini event, it lasts about a minute and a half, then you will shoot Tequatl out of the sky, and you'll get a period of extra damage on Tequatl while he's stunned. You also make use of jump pads to get around the fight very easily. Like, they'll actually launch you to different sections of the fight so you can get to the Mega Laser or the turrets or whatever, in an easier fashion. And overall, just there's one other mechanic. There's a mechanic that if you stand in the wrong place, you actually get sucked way down underwater and have to kind of swim back up while taking damage in order to survive. So there's a whole bunch of kind of new mechanics, some new animations to it, and in general it's a more interesting and more difficult fight. Now the live stream showed 3 different teams trying to take it out. I don't think any of them succeeded yet. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when it goes on live servers. Now, there's going to be new achievements for beating Tequatl. Some of them are like personal things, like what do you need to do while fighting Tequatl. I think if you defeat that meta achievement, you get the Sunbringer title. And there's other rewards. There are the chest that Tequatl has will have a chance to drop the new ascended weapons, a chance to drop a weapon with, and I don't have all the details on this yet, but there's going to be certain skins that you can only get off of Tequatl. I don't know if it's multiple skins or just one skin or what kind of weapon it is, but there's going to be certain things that are Tequatl specific. So there's the ascended weapons, there's unique skins for Tequatl, and there's also a rare chance of getting a Tequatl mini pet as well. So incentive to you know, do Tequatl and try to get these cool rewards. So, all right, I want to comment a little bit before I wrap up the episode on what I think about this change. Okay, so I'll start with the positive. I like that they're revisiting the boss fights. Like I said earlier, they're really cool. They just need to be more fun to do. I like that there's new unique rewards to it, right? To incentivize people to do it. I like that there's mechanics of the fight that you can't ignore anymore, right? The mega laser and the you know, the turrets and that whole thing, you know, those were ignored elements of the fight that were there previously, but now you kind of have to engage with. So that's good. And I like that it's more difficult overall, right? It's not just a Zerg Fest. However, I'm not so sure. I mean, I said this before with the Karka Queen. I don't love the time limit as a fail mechanic, and it seems like that seems to be their go-to way of making something hard is, oh, if you don't beat it in this time limit, then you fail. And maybe this is a little bit old school thinking, or maybe this doesn't really fit the Guild Wars 2, you know, design philosophies, but I like the old school thought of, you know, the group wipes on an event when you're standing in the wrong place or when you're doing something wrong, and the dragon just runs all over the place killing people until your whole group dies, and then it resets and you have to start it over again. And think about, okay, what can we do differently this time? Tweak your strategy and you know, attempt it again. This doesn't allow for that at all. If you fail, it's going to dive back in the water. You're going to have to wait till he spawns again. You know, who knows, 2 or 3 hours later. I don't know if they're going to change the spawn time on this or not. But you don't get to attempt it again. So you don't get to learn. You don't get to change strategy. You don't get to do anything like that. It's you know, it's basically, you know, you're either going to have enough people to do it that know what they're doing, or you're not. And again, I don't like the fail condition of the time limit, because I like it more wet, you know, all right, you know, if you miss a certain key mechanic, or you weren't quick enough to this, or everybody stood in the wrong spot, then the group just wipes, right? Everyone just, you know, a lot of people will die, and then there's not enough people to stand around and, you know, fight the thing, and then the thing runs rampant and kills people one at a time. Now, the aggro mechanics of these boss encounters don't really work like that, and I understand there's some difficulties with how that kind of works and stuff, because there's no Holy Trinity, right? You know, a lot of times those things work well in a Holy Trinity situation, because you have some people tanking him, you have some people healing the tank, and if the healers don't keep up with the tank, or the tank does something stupid and stands in the wrong space, then he dies, and then the creature starts running everywhere, and you have to have somebody try to pick it up really quick. So those kind of interactions don't exist in Guild Wars 2, I understand that, but I also think that there's room to have you know, fail conditions that aren't related to a time limit. So I am excited. I will with reserve judgment until I actually play it, and you know, and I'll be sure to like let you know what I think about it afterwards. But just sitting from, you know, watching the live stream and thinking about how it's going to play out, I think it's going to be something I'm going to do often, because I want the rewards, but I'm not sensing this is going to have that great feeling of awesomeness that I hope it will. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Does this excite you from more? Like, I'm excited for this. I want the achievements. I want to see the fight revamped. I want to see the cool rewards. I want to see it being harder. But I'm still not convinced that I'm going to play through that and feel like, oh my god, that boss fight was so good. I can't believe we took it out. That was, you know, that was really hard and all this kind of stuff. And if it is really hard, and I do feel like that sense of accomplishment, it's going to feel a little bit more like relief, because, oh man, the last 8 times we tried this, it just dove back into the water and we had to wait for it to respawn again. You don't get to keep trying, like I said earlier. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this. And let's talk about it in the comments. So that's going to wrap things up. Thanks so much for watching. If you need to contact me, you can do so in the following ways. You can reach me on Twitter at Richie Procopio, on Facebook, facebook.com/bogotter, and on G Plus at gplus.to/bogotter. You can also please subscribe to this channel if you found it helpful or entertaining, and also give me a like and a favorite and all that jazz. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. I know a lot of people want the next playable race in Guild Wars 2 to be a Kodan or a Tengu, but I want this. Poodle people.